If you know who that is, you are old. I just thought I'd make a quick video here. Not much of a YouTuber, as you can see. This is my little project I've been working on. If you're thinking, yep, another 50-something-year-old guy talking about RC cars on YouTube, well, it's 2021. That's what you're going to get. So I've been working on this all summer. I know it's probably sounds ridiculous, but I have been. This started out as a bunch of parts. Some Team CoRally diffs from their Python and their chassis. So we got chassis, Team CoRally, diffs and diff housings are Team CoRally. Shocks for now are the Python shocks off of their, I think it was their V1. And to make all this work, I had to make a lot of stuff. So I have made my own towers. They're out of carbon. The front one I think that's 5mm. I don't know if you can, it's not focusing too good. The rear one might be 6mm. And I had to make some bracing here. You see that little brace supports that tower back there. Bolts onto the diff housing and then bolts onto the center there on this brace here. And the front, I stiffened that up quite a bit. You got a couple braces there. You got the mounting there for the body. And this little guy here, this little brace here, I had to mock that up. That was really a real pain to make. I had to key it in there, you know, if everything's angled, so you make it too short and everything's flopping around in there. Make it too long and it's like it doesn't fit in there. So to get that out of there, you got to take this off. This slides up. Take that bolt off. Take this bolt out, and that comes out. Works really good. It's real stiff. For a power system, I got the Team CoRally. It's System Max 8. It's really nice though because it doesn't have any silliness involved with the smart electronics. It's just an orange Max 6, and their motors are really good. I really like this little motor here. That's a 2050 kV, similar to the old BLX Arrma motors, but yeah, it's pretty decent. Anybody that's ever used one can tell you that they're pretty sweet motors. And it's a little much for this setup, but it's a lot of fun. A couple other things I had to make. Had to make these drive shafts for the back, or the dog bones in the back, because when I used the Arrma arms here and the links on this diff housing, if you can see here, that is Team CoRally. That's an Arrma. Oh boy, you can't really tell, but you have to take my word for it. CoRally is wider, so what happens is things just don't fit, so you got to make your own. And don't lose any sleep. I know they're aluminum. Don't worry. I realize that. I think they're probably going to hold up okay for a while. The pins will probably wear out, fall out eventually, but at least I got my length right. I can just make them out of steel. And you see a little drive shaft in there. Had to make that. Couldn't find one to work. Front drive shafts, Team CoRally Python. And then the chassis here, excuse my fingers and everything else in the camera lens, but it's just how it is their Python chassis, Team CoRally again, shortened. See a couple extra holes there. You see those egg-shaped holes there. They're actually the old rear holes, just moved the whole thing back. I don't know how far it was, and then made up a little template. I got stuff all over the place here. Here's a template. Taped it on the back, traced it, cut it out on a bandsaw, and there you go, right? And then I milled it. Unfortunately, most of you probably don't have a mill, but I milled all that around. But you could do that with a bandsaw and a Dremel if you're patient enough. Get your bandsaw, or not your bandsaw, your jigsaw. Clamp your chassis to a piece of wood, you know, and then clamp that down on your bench, or if you have some kind of works area like that, something like that, and then you can saw it out, and it's all clamped down safe on a piece of plywood. Won't move around on you. You could even drill your holes and mount and screw that down with nuts and bolts on your plywood. It won't move around on you, and then you can just go to town with the jigsaw. Works out really well. But I didn't do that. I did it on the mill. I got all kinds of stuff over here. There's my mill and bandsaw and a bunch of cars, bike stuff. I got stuff everywhere, but you get the idea. Probably the biggest pain in the neck on this build was these suspension mounts. So Team CoRally makes suspension mounts that are just not up to the task. Plastic with a little piece of aluminum in there. They're not keyed to the chassis. They're just hanging out there hoping for the best, you know. So I had to do something with that. So this one here captivates the front of the chassis on 3 sides, here, underneath, and in the front, and it won't wiggle side to side. It's keyed on there, and then it extends in behind these screws, so it's screwed down here, captivated, and it still has these little bolts on the front here. I may make these through holes and kind of copy M2C's design, but for now the pins are captivated in there. I don't think they're going anywhere. And this rear one here, I keyed it onto the chassis, so if you get a good hit, hopefully things will you'll either break an arm or something like that instead of ripping your bulkhead off or bending up your pins in there. Anyway, we'll see how that holds up, but I think it's pretty strong. 70-75 aluminum, pretty tough stuff. The rear, I didn't captivate that one. It's just done on this side and underneath, and then these 2 bolts hold it in. I didn't want that hanging down. They get caught on rocks and stuff. But now that I think about it, I probably should have did it and just put a skid plate over top and made that transition good. It's a basher, so it doesn't really matter if you have a little less ground clearance. If this thing's a racer, you want this chassis nice and super smooth, no bumps, nothing on there to hold you back. But since we're just bashing, we're good enough. So what we got is Typhon arms, right? Arrma's Typhon arms. We got Creighton hexes and axle blocks, or whatever you want to call them. There. And the links, I think they're still Team CoRally. They probably won't last long, but that's what we got. And back here, same deal. Typhon arms, Creighton axles, and axle housings. And then get this flipped over again. Bear with me. I know this is going to go to 10 minutes, and it's like, man, it's like if you got nothing better to do than watch me talk about this, I feel sorry for you. But anyway, what I lack in quality here, hopefully I'll make up for and give you some ideas of what you can do in your shop at home, how to put a shop together. You don't really need all this stuff to make a pretty cool RC car. I mean, we used to do everything, you know, we were teenagers with a Dremel, you know, a couple little pieces of metal from the hardware store, and you can make up stuff. But now, since I'm old, I got a little extra money, got machine shop, got some experience in that. I should be a lot better at it. I mean, I've been a machinist for 35 years, and I'm not going to claim to be the best, but it puts bread on the table. It's not my life. but it's a decent living, as they say. So what else about this car? Sway bars, Team CoRally, really sweet setup. I love their sway bar setup. Maybe a little stiffer than the ones I have on my Truckified Typhon, but really nice setup. We'll see how they hold up. I couldn't use their ends there. I don't know if you could see in there. I used the Arrma ends because they swivel. The ones that Team CoRally puts on are straight, and you can't put them in your arms. So, but Team CoRally has nice metal ends. It won't break. Got this little thingy here that's like a bearing that rides in a slot in the bulkhead. Pretty cool setup. So yeah, the bodies. By the way, here I got this bumper here. I'm gonna stick that on. That's one I made out of cvds. And it's nothing too fancy. What I did is just I kind of copied a T-bone that I had and made it a little different. Made it shorter, one way, shorter in the front, longer in the rear to cover more of the chassis. Made a template up out of a Cheerios box, and there you have it. Cut it out, and then made another template out of an old piece of body. Never throw these away. You put that on the bottom. Put little Sharpie marks where your holes go. Get your body reamer. Boom. Put a couple holes in there. Put it on top of your bumper. Bam. There you go. Put some holes in there. You're good to go, right? So that's going to come up and just protect the front of this body from getting crushed in. And the rear, I'm going to do the same in the rear. These Vortex bodies are, I don't know what they were thinking when they painted them, but they're a really nice body. But man, are they ugly. The paint job is ridiculous. They ought to be, well, I don't know. I guess some people might like it, but I do not. I mean, you know. So, oh, that thing there, by the way, that keeps the towers from crushing through the back of your body. That's, again, a piece of kydex, whatever you want to call it. And they're handy. I make these all the time, and it really helps things. You know, there's times when you're landing on the lid. Didn't do that to the front because it has these things there, but I might still make a piece to go underneath here. Keep these bolts from busting through the body. But there you go. That's about it. Some might say, yeah, it's just a Truckified Typhon. You know, it is not. It is tiny. My Truckified Typhon there is all apart, so can't really compare it. But I can put it on top of my Mojave. You get an idea. I mean, gee whiz. That's a little car, right? So, anyways, that's going to do it. See ya.